Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you guys how to use Paperspace Gradient. When I started using this, I never really found that many resources online, and I thought that this would help a couple of you guys. So over here, I'm at the Paperspace home, and if I go to Gradient, I'm going to first start off with notebooks. So we can go straight to notebooks, and you can create a notebook however you wish over here using whatever container that you need. And then you can also choose your machine. So you can always change this later on once you run a different instance of your notebook. So from there, I'm just going to go back to the notebooks I already have. So once your notebook is created, it'll show up here. And to start your notebook, you can easily just click on start. And you can see like anytime I run it, I can change what type of GPU I want to use. So as of now, I'm just going to use just the C2. And you cannot really use the auto shutdown unless you have uh, like a subscription plan or something like that. But for the free plan, it automatically shuts down after 12 hours. So from here, we can just start the notebook. And this does take a little bit of time, and it'll show right here pending. And then once it says that it's ready, you can click on a little link that pops up right here. So right now you can see that it's ready. And now when I open it up, it's basically as if I'm running Jupyter Notebook regularly. So over here we have my Python notebook, but then also if you see here, there's this storage folder right here. And this storage is my persistent storage. So if I ever wanted to put something in here and have it remain there across anytime I'm running jobs or anytime I'm running like another notebook, everything will be right here. So if I want to upload something else, I can just click upload and upload a single file right here. However, if you do have a lot of files, for example, like one of the things I was running was a GAN and I needed thousands and thousands of images. So clicking here, upload again and again, probably wouldn't be the best way to do it. So I can show you guys how to do that with using your jobs. But if you go back here, you can see that when I open up my Python notebook, opens up really easily, and I can run it as if I had a GPU and it works completely fine. However, the only downside about doing this way is that you would have to manually shut down your notebook after you're done using it, which might be a little bit of a hassle if you don't know how long your notebook would be running or how long any of your things will be running for. So I usually like to create it as a notebook and then convert it into a Python file and then run that as a job. That way it automatically shuts down when it's finished running. So from here I'll just exit out of this notebook right now. So if you close this, if you look in right here, you can see that my notebook is still running. I haven't shut it down. So like I'm still paying for this time that's running. But once I click stop, it'll start stopping right here. And any outputs for the file that I have from this Jupyter notebook that I have will show up as artifacts. So as soon as it stops, you can see it right here. I have file output artifacts, and I can look at any of the outputs from my file. So anything that's here that's not in the storage will remain there. And it's a good thing to note that everything that's in artifacts, you can't really view this while your notebook is running or while like your job is running or anything like that. And yeah, pretty much that's it. So from there, I can take you to the jobs tab. Usually I like using this much better because it's more efficient, and if I need to run something for like 5 hours but I didn't know that it takes 5 hours, it makes more sense to run it on here because it'll automatically shut down once the job is done running. Paperspace CLI to create jobs and utilize jobs to transfer files or to run Python files or anything like that. So first you're going to want to install the CLI. So you can do this however you want from this link right here from Paperspace. So either you can use pip install Paperspace, you can use the Anaconda distribution to install it, or you can just install it with npm. Any of these work completely fine. But after you install the CLI, you'll have to go back to Paperspace, and you'll need to create your API key. So once you create a key, you will need to log in through here. So you could do something like Paperspace login, and then do dash dash API key, and then whatever your API key that you copied and pasted, you can just put that right here, and then you should be good to go. It'll also ask you for your username and password, and that username and password is for your Paperspace account. So once you put that in, you should be ready to go. So then basically from there, you can create your own job. So one of the things that I probably wanted to do was transfer a file to my persistent storage, or transfer multiple files to my persistent storage. So I'm just going to go to where I want to transfer my file. So I'll go to Paperspace Jobs. Okay, so I'm right here. So from here, what I want to do is use Paperspace Jobs create, and then I will have to specify what type of machine I want to use. So if you want to really transfer files or anything at really low cost, I would recommend using the C2. If you're trying to actually do some sort of computation or anything, use something else that's much better, because using a C2 is not a GPU at all. I'm just using whatever CPUs. And then over here, I can specify what command I want to do. So because I want to get this demo image.png into my storage, I can simply just copy and paste the file from here to my storage. So what I can do right now is do cp dot slash demo dash image. Oh, sorry, it was underscore dot png, and then wherever I want to put it into. So from here, I'll want to put it into storage, and that's it basically, because I just want to keep it in my in the root directory of storage. So from there, that is the command that I'm going to be running, and then I have to specify what container I'm using. So if I'm just going to simply transfer a file, I can just use their test container. But if I want to do some sort of, sorry, I did this wrong. But if I want to do some sort of computation, I probably have to use something else, which includes like PyTorch or TensorFlow or something like that. So this right here should be transferring one file called demo.image.png and put it into my persistent storage on Paperspace. If I wanted to do multiple files or an entire directory of images, I would use something like cp-r and then whatever directory it is, and then put it into storage and whatever directory I want to put it into. So once I put it right here, I can click enter, and then it'll zip up that folder. So you want to make sure you're probably not doing this on your desktop, and create a new folder where you want to send your image to. So right now it's waiting for the job to run, and now if I go to jobs, you can see that I have a job created. So it's running right now, and it was a success. So now also if I click here, I can see the logs that from this job, and then I can also see what files were there. So you can see that my demo image was there, and my another file, which was like another Python file that was in that directory. But there's actually nothing in artifacts. And the reason for this is because I have to, whatever job or anything I'm running, I have to explicitly put it in artifacts. I'll show you that in a bit. So just to show you that it actually went through and it's stored in my persistent storage, I couldn't find another way to like see what your storage is. So one of the things that I just do is I just open up a notebook. I start it up on a C2, and then I just look there. It's a nice visual way of seeing my storage and to see everything, if everything was transferred properly and everything. I know it said successful, but if you want like a visual representation, you can just go back to your storage and just look at it. So right now I'm going to be opening up the notebook again, and it's ready. So now if I go to storage, we can see that my demo image was just uploaded here a minute ago. And you can see how when I added it to persistent storage from a job, it can be accessed among different notebooks or other jobs as well. So from here, I'll just close this out, and I will stop this right here, and works perfectly. Okay, so it'll stop in a bit, and you can see the artifacts will slowly come from. So I guess that's like the good thing about notebooks, that your artifacts will just be there afterwards, and you don't need to explicitly put a file into the artifacts. But when you're running it as a job, you do need to do that. So for example, I'll show you one of the files that I had. So here is one of the Python files that I had. So basically, if I want to access all the images, I can just access it like this: storage, which is my persistent storage, and 128 images, which is the directory where all my images are. So I can access it from my files just like that. And then when I want to get something back as artifacts or something like that, then I have to explicitly state that I want to put a file into my artifacts. So for example, when I'm saving one of my epochs, one of the states of like my model for a specific epoch, I would have to do save it as /artifacts 128 cargan epoch and then save it as tar. I can either do this or I can directly save it into my storage, whichever one I wish. But doing this will allow me to, after the job is finished, I can actually see in my artifacts and download whichever files that I want that are in my artifacts. So from this, basically, if you wanted to run a file like this, I can go back to my terminal, and then remember how I created a job right here? So we're going to basically be doing the same thing. We'll do Paperspace create, Paperspace jobs create, and then I specify a machine type. So I used, I did this wrong again. It's -- machine type. So for this, when I was actually running it, I used a P5000, but because this is just like for demo purposes, I'll use a C2. And then if I actually want to run it, I can do command, and then I can do whatever command I want to do. So I can do Python 3, and the name of this file, which is cargan128 salu.py. That's the command that I want to run within this directory. And then I also have to specify a specific container. So the container I'm going to use for this that actually worked for me, for you, this might be a different container depending if you're using TensorFlow or something like that. I'm using PyTorch, and I found this to work perfectly fine. So it's ufoym/depot, and that's, once I click this, it should run my job. However, as you can see here, I already have 10 jobs up, and for the free subscription, I cannot have more than 10. So I'll have to delete one of these, but no worries, because you can always you can always show your deleted ones, and then from your deleted ones you can go back to it and look at the artifacts again. So it should be completely fine if you delete them. So I'll go back here. Now I only have 9 jobs after I deleted the last one, and now when I go back to here, I can click enter, and it'll slowly run. I don't know how long this will take. It might take a little bit of time before it comes up over here. But what I basically wanted to show you was how some files go into my artifacts. This actually might take a while to run because I'm doing it on C2. But you can see how it gets provisioned and it starts running. And once I go over here, I can go to my logs right here. So anything that's printed out from my file will go directly here. And then, as you saw before, this job did have artifacts, but I will not be able to access them or see whatever artifacts I have until the job is completely done running. And I'll go back to logs. You can see how in my file I was running something. So I had something wrong over here. That's because I was trying to use a GPU, but I'm only running on the C2, which is only a CPU instance. So that would give me a failure, and I probably won't have any artifacts. So I'll just show you like an example of what the artifacts look like if I ran another job, like on a real GPU. So here's another one. So I ran this on a P5000, so there weren't any errors, and I can see the entire log of everything. And then when I go back up, I can see my files that were run over here. So I ran this file, and I can actually access the file here. So I can just see everything as it comes up here. So this is the file that I ran. And then when I go to artifacts, and again, this will show up once your job is finished running. You can see that I saved every image from every epoch, and then I saved the state of my model after every epoch. So if after one of the epochs something failed or collapsed or something, I can go back to an old one and continue training from there. And then from here, I can download any of the images I want or any of the tar files of the models that I want, and it downloads directly to me. So that makes it easy for retrieving files back or something like that after you run a model. And that's pretty much it. And again, you can only if you're on this free subscription plan, you can only run 10. You can only have 10 jobs there for you, and you can only have 10 notebooks there. But you can only run one at a time. So unless you want to upgrade to a subscription plan, then you can do that as well. And if you found this helpful, you can leave a comment down below, like this video. If you need any help, comment down below. And if this is your first time using it and you want to start looking into it and play around with it, I do have a referral code below that will give you $10 worth of credit that you can use. You can run anything on there, and that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and hope this helped.